Senator Dick Durbin's speech cuts to the heart of what's wrong with the Trump administration's priorities. A leadership obsessed with luxury and image, but neglecting the very people who keep this country running. While families across America are struggling to afford groceries, medicine, and rent, the former president is throwing parties, bragging about his so-called big, beautiful budget, and ignoring his most basic duty, ensuring that families can put food on the table.
Mr. President, my friend from Wyoming, my colleague on the Republican side, just gave a litany of accomplishments of the Trump administration. That is his view of the political world, and he's certainly entitled to it. But the vote results from last night show that America does not agree with what the senator from Wyoming said. They're not happy with the MAGA movement and what it's brought to America. The results across the board were overwhelmingly in favor of the Democrats last night. It doesn't square with the happy talk which we've heard on the floor about the achievements of the Trump administration. In fact, in one candid moment, President Trump conceded that the shutdown cost him many votes in last night's election across the board. He's right. The American people have come to understand what this government shutdown is all about. It's about their bottom line, their home budget, their health care, their insurance cost. In my state, it's typical. People are seeing a doubling of their health insurance premiums as of January 1st, and in some parts of my state, tripling. In other parts of the country, it's even more. Why is this happening? Because of the big, beautiful budget bill of the Trump administration. It eliminated the tax treatment that helped families pay for these health insurance premiums. And as a consequence, their premiums are going through the roof. What is that going to do to a family who has to make a choice? A choice that comes down to $200 or $300 a month more in health insurance premiums. Some will be able to afford it, I'm sure, but others won't, and they'll give up on their health insurance coverage. That's a terrible position for any family to be in. And it also creates problems when it comes to healthcare providers, hospitals, clinics, doctors, and such. They're going to find themselves in a terrible situation when these same sick people with no health insurance come to the hospital. Sure, they'll be treated. We do that in America. But they're going to end up incurring costs for that hospital that will not be reimbursed. What does that do for the rest of us? With health insurance we can afford, we're going to end up paying more when it's all over. You cannot ignore the health insurance problem in America, as the Republicans hope to do. That is what is driving this government shutdown, and it's time for it to come to an end. I hope that President Trump, after last night's election results, will see clearly that he is being blamed rightly for this shutdown, and that it has to come to an end, and we have to move forward as a nation. The sooner, the better. The things that are happening across the board here are just indefensible. The president yesterday was weaving back and forth between saying he was going to pay all of the SNAP food benefits to hungry families in America, and then saying he was going to cut them all off unless we ended the government shutdown. Back and forth during the course of the day, it was hard to follow his position. I'm still not sure where it ends, but I worry that the families desperate for assistance and paying for food, put it on the table, are still uncertain themselves. The food banks cannot take care of this problem. This program, the SNAP program, known as the food stamp program, is critical to feeding America for over 40 million of our neighbors and friends. It is time to make it clear that the payments are going to be made. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I hope the president makes that clear today.
Durbin isn't just making a political point. He's laying bare a moral crisis. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, or what many still call food stamps, isn't some political bargaining chip. It's a lifeline. Over 40 million Americans rely on it. Seniors on fixed incomes, parents working 2 jobs, veterans, and children who go to school hungry if this program falters. And yet, during this government shutdown, the Trump administration has toyed with their futures. One day claiming benefits will be paid, the next threatening to cut them off entirely. That's not leadership. That's cruelty disguised as politics. Durbin reminds us that this shutdown isn't some abstract political standoff in Washington. It's a direct hit to people's daily lives, to their bottom line. Families are watching their health insurance premiums double or even triple because of Trump's reckless economic agenda. The so-called big, beautiful budget stripped away vital tax provisions that made healthcare affordable. The result? Working families are forced to make impossible choices. Do they pay $300 more a month for health insurance, or do they drop coverage altogether and pray they don't get sick? And when they do get sick, because illness doesn't wait for politics, our hospitals and clinics are left footing the bill. Those unpaid costs ripple through the system, driving premiums even higher for everyone else. Durbin's point is painfully clear. Neglecting the most vulnerable ends up hurting everyone. Meanwhile, Trump is celebrating himself, throwing parties, golfing, congratulating his inner circle, while millions of Americans don't even know if they'll be able to feed their kids next week. This isn't just economic mismanagement, it's a profound moral failure. Durbin's words remind us that governing is about responsibility, not power, not photo ops, not applause lines at rallies. It's about making sure every family in America can live with dignity. And dignity starts with the basics: food, healthcare, security. The truth is, SNAP isn't charity. It's a reflection of American values. That in the wealthiest country on earth, no child should go to bed hungry. No senior should skip meals to pay for prescriptions, and no worker should have to choose between rent and groceries. So, as Senator Durbin urges, it's time to end the shutdown. It's time for those in power to stop treating the poor and working class as collateral damage in their political games. And it's time for us, the voters, the citizens, to hold them accountable. We can't afford to stay silent while leaders celebrate themselves and neglect the people who put them in office. This isn't just Democrats versus Republicans. It's about decency versus indifference. Let's make it clear: America deserves leadership that feeds families, not egos. Stand up, speak out, and demand a government that works for everyone.